Understanding how vulnerabilities are identified and analyzed is an important part of cybersecurity because it shows how real systems can be attacked and how those risks can be prevented. In this lab, intentionally vulnerable systems such as Kioptrix 2 and Metasploitable 2 are used along with a Kali Linux environment to simulate a real-world penetration testing scenario. The goal is to demonstrate how security professionals use structured methods like network enumeration, vulnerability scanning, and exploitation to identify weaknesses in a system and evaluate their impact. A key part of web security testing involves understanding the tools used to find these vulnerabilities. Two commonly used tools are Nikto and OWASP ZAP. Nikto is a fast command line tool that scans web servers for common issues like outdated software, missing security configurations, and exposed server information. It is useful for quick reconnaissance because it identifies basic weaknesses very quickly. On the other hand, OWASP ZAP is a more advanced tool that uses a graphical interface and proxy-based traffic inspection. It can actively test web applications for deeper issues like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, authentication problems, and insecure input handling. While Nikto focuses more on the server itself, OWASP ZAP focuses on how the application behaves when users interact with it. To better understand these vulnerabilities, it is important to define a few common attack types. Cross-site scripting, or XSS, is when an attacker injects malicious JavaScript into a website that runs in a user's browser. This can lead to stolen session cookies, account takeover, or redirecting users to malicious sites. Cross-site request forgery, or CSRF, tricks a logged-in user into performing unwanted actions on a website without their knowledge, often because the site does not properly verify where the request came from. Another important concept is the Diffie-Hellman key exchange, which is normally used to securely share encryption keys, but when implemented weakly, it can allow attackers to break or intercept secure communications. In addition, RMI registry vulnerabilities occur when Java remote method services are exposed or insecure, allowing attackers to discover or interact with remote objects in unintended ways. During testing, several vulnerabilities were identified, and these include multiple SQL injection points in post request to index.php, additional injectable parameters, and insecure form handling. There are also signs of potential XSS through user-controllable HTML attributes. And the system is missing important protections like anti-CSRF tokens, content security policy headers, clickjacking protections, and X-content type options headers. On top of this, the application exposes sensitive information through page banners and HTTP headers such as X powered by and server, which reveal backend technology and version details. These issues combined show a pattern of weak input validation, missing security controls, and unnecessary information disclosure. Using flaw hypothesis methodology, these findings suggest the system has a widespread failure in secure input handling and lacks consistent security controls across multiple layers. User input is not properly sanitized or encoded, leading to injection risks in both the database and the browser. At the same time, missing security headers and protections show weak baseline hardening. Overall, the system lacks defense in depth, meaning that simple vulnerabilities can potentially be chained together into more serious attacks like data theft or full system compromise. To better understand the overall security posture, a vulnerability analysis and mapping approach was used. This showed that most of the issues fall into three main categories. Injection flaws, like SQL injection and XSS, missing security controls such as CSRF protection and security headers, and information disclosure through exposed system details. These weaknesses suggest that the application is not properly secured at multiple layers, and attackers could combine these issues to escalate from basic access to full compromise of data or accounts. To identify these vulnerabilities, different tools are used together for full coverage. Nikto is used first to scan the web server for basic misconfigurations and outdated software. OWASP. This API is then used to actively test the web application for vulnerabilities like SQL injection, XSS, and missing security protections by analyzing live traffic. Nexxus is used to scan the underlying system for known vulnerabilities and missing patches at the operating system and service level. Together, these tools provide a complete view of security weaknesses across the server, application, and infrastructure layers. Based on the findings, likely attack vectors include SQL injection, XSS, CSRF, and information disclosure. Attackers could use SQL injection to access or modify database data while Based on the findings, likely attack vectors include SQL injection, XSS, CSRF, and information disclosure. Attackers could use SQL injection to access or modify database data, while XSS could allow them to steal session cookies or perform actions as other users. Without CSRF protections, attackers could trick authenticated users into performing unwanted actions. Information disclosure also helps attackers identify the system's technology and known vulnerabilities, making exploitation easier. Missing clickjacking protections further increase the risk of user deception attacks. From a legal, ethical, and industry perspective, vulnerability disclosure must be handled carefully. Legally, sharing vulnerabilities without permission can violate laws and expose sensitive systems. Ethically, researchers should report issues privately first to avoid harming users. Industry standards follow responsible or coordinated disclosure, where vulnerabilities are reported to the vendor, fixed, and only made public after remediation or after a set time period. The best practice is to disclose vulnerabilities publicly only after they have been patched or after the organization has had enough time to fix them, ensuring users are protected while still allowing transparency. One specific vulnerability selected for deeper analysis is the information disclosure in the page banner. This was chosen because it is often overlooked but can significantly increase the impact of other vulnerabilities. It likely occurred because debug or system information was left enabled in a production environment. The root cause is a failure to separate development and production settings, meaning internal details like server type or version numbers were unintentionally exposed. This usually results from weak configuration management or missing security review before deployment. While not directly harmful on its own, it allows attackers to fingerprint the system and more easily exploit other vulnerabilities like SQL injection or XSS, increasing overall risk.